Video games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one word. 2 words.
2 words.
Video game movies.
Isn't that 3 words? Video
That's technically
games
3
and
words.
Movies. Yeah, so you're lying.
I didn't
already.
realize, unless video games is spelt with like a hyphen, like a last name, it'd be video games. Movies. Video games and movies. I want to talk about video game movies today because there's been a couple of them coming out lately.
Video
and
game
some of them
technically has like a space in the middle. It's like video and then game. Just saying. It's not one word. There's like a space.
So today I want to talk about video games. Okay, 3 words. Video game movies. I want to talk about all 3 of those exact things with my co-hosts of the Mouthfuls today. GG Gabriel Gaming.
That's me. Hello, bonjour.
That's you. Hello, Gab. How you doing this fine evening?
I'm doing great. You know, having some coffee, having a great time, chilling with my buds. It's great. It's great.
Oh man, that sounds great. How about you, Fyrus Hayden? How you doing down there?
Well, I'm tired.
I feel you. Hard relate to that. How you doing up there, Mouthful, Failboat Daniel?
Hello.
Sorry I said your full name like that. I didn't mean that.
Cool and inappropriate. Now I'm gonna get doxxed. I like video games.
Everyone look up Mouthful, Failboat Daniel, the address, the IP address, everything shows up. Is this you? Oh boy. So welcome back to Mouthfuls. Today I want to talk about video game movies because of course, as everybody knows, Sonic Movie 2 came out as of the time we're recording this about a month ago, and it was highly revered as a fantastic, fan-loving video game movie that everybody loved, that most people loved. Obviously fans of the franchise approved of it, so you know that it gets the ultimate validation in that case. And supposedly it was, I don't know if it was the or one of the like best-selling video game movies of all time, and it's just in its opening weekend. And with that massive amount of success that this sequel to a video game movie has gotten, it just got me thinking like, man, we're really entering this era where video game movies are becoming the new, I guess the new phase of comic book movies. We had comic books, then we had the Marvel comic book movies and DC and all that. We have video games. Now we're having the video game cinematic universe. So with this new resurgence coming up, I just want to talk a lot about today about movies that we already like, our thoughts on those movies, and ones that are coming up and ones that we would like to come up. I want to speculate on some movies that we haven't really had yet or could have in the future. So starting off, I want to ask all you guys what your favorite video game movies to date currently are. And while you have the time to think about that, I'll go first and just say that I genuinely feel like the first Sonic movie might be my absolute favorite. Out of the ones that I've seen. I really liked the second one, but I guess I just liked the first one because it was such a new experience of like, whoa, a Sonic movie, who would have guessed? And the introduction of Jim Carrey as Eggman, obviously that was the selling point for me. Right. Any good villain in a movie is what makes it. So, you know, but there's other movies coming up that might change my mind, but for now I think that's probably my favorite. But I'm curious how you guys feel, or if there's any particular ones that you guys like, maybe ones that we haven't heard of yet.
So
Super Mario Bros. 1993.
Yes!
That's
a close second for me right there.
A classic.
I tried to forget, man.
Have you seen what the Goombas look like in that movie? It's awesome. Hold on, let me I'm gonna show you a picture. This is apparently a Goomba. I don't fucking understand what went through their head when they saw.
Oh, I forgot about that.
They saw a funny little. They saw a funny little mushroom guy, and they were like, "Yeah, let's make him a henchman type fellow with a tiny head." Like,
it looks more like a Koopa.
Yeah, and
yeah, it does look more like a Koopa, but it's a Goomba.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like the only thing, right, that movie was at all accurate on was the bob-omb. They got the one thing right, and it was the bob-omb.
Yep.
Yeah, the bob-omb was 1-to-1.
No, the bob-omb was like the only thing where I was like, wow, that's like kind of like the game a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's just a little bomb with a face.
Yeah.
But
Definitely a prop
I,
they just threw together with like clay.
my Super Mario Bros. 1993 is my favorite movie because it adds to the lore what Mario and Luigi's last name is.
That's true.
Yeah,
What is their last name, Virus, for those curious?
it's Mario, and Luigi Mario because they're the
Yeah,
Mario
that's
Bros. So it's
awesome.
like that. Why would they both be the Mario Bros. Unless it's their family name? It makes so much sense if you think about it.
Mario,
Mario, Luigi Mario. Plus, Luigi doesn't have a mustache. It's really fucking weird. I don't. That's a lot of stuff that's like interesting about that movie.
yeah.
But to answer your question, legitimately, Sonic 2, like the second Sonic movie.
Yeah, that was a fantastic film.
Like, I liked the first one. I felt, in my opinion anyway, the first one was a very safe, like, family movie. Less of a Sonic movie, more of a, this is just to see if people will even watch this kind of thing. So we're gonna make it like almost like a blanket, cookie cutter family animation movie, but we're gonna slot in Sonic and add some references and stuff for the people that do want to see that kind of thing. And it was really good, don't get me wrong. I enjoyed the first one, but then I saw the second one, and then the second one just felt like a Sonic movie, you know? Like, to me, it felt like, because in the first one, the movie had so much of a focus on Sonic and like Tom, the human relationship, and that was like, Tom was like front and center for pretty much the entire film. It was Sonic and Tom. It was like a buddy, is it like a buddy cop situation? Whereas in Sonic 2, they reeled the fuck back on that. And
Thank God.
Yeah, exactly. They had a plot point where they pushed them out of the way immediately because they went to fucking Hawaii or something. So it was just a Sonic movie, and there was like Knuckles and Tails, and it was great. Like, there was one part in particular, kind of spoilers, but like when Sonic's like drowning underwater, and he like Knuckles like swims away, and Sonic's trying to swim and he can't. Very, very fucking faintly in the background. I didn't notice this my first time watching it, but very faintly in the background you hear the dun 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 dun, like the drowning music. Yeah, it's. I watched it again the other day, and I was like, oh my god, it's like very subtle in the background, but it's there, and there's like there's so many like small little details throughout the second movie that are like, holy shit, this movie's made from me.
That's awesome. I had no idea.
I remember when I was watching Sonic 2, that was like the one thing I was looking out for. There was like one time when he like hops in the water and he didn't do the drowning music, and I'm like, what's the point?
Yeah,
and then he started drowning again. I'm like, wait, maybe now? And it started playing, and I'm like,
yeah, I didn't notice it the first time I saw it. You're the one that made me look out for that.
Only because I was like looking for it for some reason. I was like, this is the only Sonic reference I get.
It was like, because it's actually so subtle. It's like so quiet, but if you listen for it, you can hear it. He also like sucks up an air bubble, which is like another reference. Which is kind of cool. Yeah.
That was the one that I picked up on. I was like, oh, it's like in the games. The logic that makes no sense, but it.
yeah. And also, spoilers for like the next maybe like 5 minutes, I guess, on this particular part. The Chaos Emerald like plot, the whole like the fact that they introduced the Chaos Emeralds, that was fucking cool. The Master Emeralds and shit, because that's what I wanted to see in the first movie. I know it, like, if you're thinking about, oh, in Sonic 1 they didn't have Chaos Emeralds, in Sonic 2 they introduced the Chaos Emeralds, like in the video games it makes sense, but in the first one, at like the final climax, I was like, dude, it would be so fucking cool if we saw Super Sonic here. Instead he like became like all electrical, and like, you know, he had like that blue thunder around him in the first one. And I was like, that's like kind of Super Sonic, but that's like the movie version of Super Sonic, I guess. And then in the second one, they just straight up fucking did it, and I was like,
that's so sick, man. That's so sick.
Like, the second one also, I'm fucking gushing right now. I'm sorry, but like the second one, does a lot of really cool things with its sound design, where if you listen, like a lot of the sound effects are just straight up video game sound effects. Like right at the beginning, like I am just like gushing about the movie at this point, but this is why this is my favorite movie. But there's like an instance right at the start, just before they shove the humans off to Hawaii, where Sonic flips a ring over to them and he's like, use this one to get back. And like as he flicks it, you hear the like little ding from like the video games, and I'm like, oh, what the fuck? That's so like, no one would notice that, but that's so cool. And like when the Chaos Emeralds, like, you know, turn him into Supersonic at the end, you hear the ding 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 ding, and that's like the sound effect from when he gets a Chaos Emerald in Sonic 2. I love little attentions to details. Plus, I'm unapologetically like one of the biggest Sonic fans. I've got the motherfucker tattooed on my arm.
Yeah.
One of my favorite movies. There you go. Sonic 2. That's my favorite video game movie.
Got it. I definitely need to rewatch the movie, because the first one, I went in the theaters, I saw it, I loved it. I was like, oh, this is great. But then I rewatched it when it was released on Hulu.
Yeah.
And I was like, hell yeah, this is great. This first, obviously the second one, excellent. I loved it, but I feel like I need to rewatch to then get reattached, because every time you watch a movie back again, you have the ability to it's not like you're sucking up every detail. Your brain already has a 60% completed part of the puzzle, so you can pick up the rest of the pieces, like those references.
In your first watch through, you're just physically unable to absorb everything like that, because you're just like, you know, you're in for the ride. You're trying to experience the story and keep up with everything. Whereas on the second time, you already know the journey, so you don't have to like concentrate on making sure you're keeping up with it. Like you said, so like you can just look around and be like, oh, is there like something hidden here? Is there something hidden there?
Yeah.
Like they did it in the first one where he does the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate pose right at the start. Like he's he's doing the like, oh, you're wondering how I got here, and he like jumps through the air and he does like the little Smash Bros pose. And in the second one, he does, I'll get a picture of it. And the second one, he does like the Sonic Adventure pose in midair in like the dance battle scene when he's throwing up in the air. And I was like,
yeah, I remember that.
That's the pose. He's doing it.
I remember seeing that and people talking about that on social media, and I was like, oh, this is totally a fan service movie, 100%. The third one has to be purely. I mean, wow.
Also, like, Knuckles is just so great in the movie. Like, Knuckles is by like far and away the funniest part of the movie. But he's like, they did him really well. Like, obviously, that's the part where he's reading out the text messages on the screen, and he's just like dot. He just keeps going. And I watched it recently again. And you know when they're talking about the little hologram of Sonic, and he's like, oh, based on my calculations, Sonic is lying, and Knuckles just fucking slams his fist down and says, tiny magic hedgehog is destroyed. And it's not like he's a dumbass, it's like he just has no fucking idea where he is, because he's an alien. And when he first meets Eggman, and he's on like the cliff edge, and the robots are coming towards him, and he's like, you think your robots are any match for me? And he's like, oh, they are stairs.
That was very good. I like that.
Yeah, the really weird. Was really funny.
That part cracked me up a little more than it should.
Yeah, no, it got to me. It genuinely got to me.
I love the like anti-joke, like, oh, build up and then just completely sweeping you under the rug for that. And I was the only person in the theater that was like laughing out loud at it, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess it wasn't that funny.
Here's the Smash Bros pose, by the way. I'm posting it here. This is from the first movie right at the start.
Oh yeah, he actually does it. Oh, that's too cool, man. I love it. I love how much of a how much they give it to, like, they know that a good chunk of the people that are going to be there are the Sonic fans who would get that, so they're catering to the right people. That's for sure.
That's cool.
It's very cool.
Before we dive more into that, I want to give the mic over to Dan and ask your favorite video game movie.
I just wanted to reply back to the I want to bring up the dance scene from Sonic 2 real quick though. I thought it was funny, but I was sad that they didn't throw the dude in the fire. You know how like
I mean, that was what was at stake, right? They were like, if we lose, you jump in the fire.
Yeah, if you lose, and then shut off the fireplace. And so I told my friends as we were watching, like, if they don't throw the dude in the fireplace when this is over, this is a bad movie. And they didn't. He walked away free. There were no consequences throughout the entire movie, clearly.
Nothing whatsoever.
It's funny, right? Because Sonic 2, I enjoyed Sonic 2 from the references standpoint. I wasn't like head over heels for like the whole movie, but like, I honestly, I'm not like the craziest Sonic fan. I'm aware of the characters. I'm aware of some of the references, and it was fun looking out for them. But it was really funny that like, my friends who don't really care at all about Sonic were like, man, this movie was like low to mid. Like, this was like an okay movie. Because they were like, I don't know. I feel like a lot of this movie ties directly to like the Sonic, you know, look, it's a Sonic the Hedgehog movie. It rightfully should tie to the games very, you know, it's a Sonic movie. You should know Sonic at least a little going into it, especially given how it's a sequel. But like, yeah, I thought the movie was like, okay. Personally, again, I'm just more for the references than anything. But I'll tell you honestly, if it was a Kirby movie and everything was the same, 1-to-1, but you know, with convergence into Kirby, I would be gushing just as much as Hayden was. I would be going crazy for it. And I think that's beautiful that there is a video game movie that leans so hard into the video game that it's like genuinely. All Sonic fans love this movie because it's such a like 4K illustration of what they've come to know and love is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And I think there's a lot of truth in that, you know, this movie was the sequel at least was definitely directly catered to people who loved the first one and the hardcore fan base.
Yeah.
Not even the hardcore fan base, like just the fan base.
It was like it was the first, like I said, the first one felt really safe, but then it was such a success that they were like, okay, well, people weren't super crazy about how much like the human focus had in the first movie. Let's just make this more of a Sonic movie, which is why there's only like one human B plot, and that's right at the end, and it's like for 20 minutes. So like I think that's like a good direction to go, because I like the parts, because what worried me about Sonic, like the Sonic movie 2 in particular, was they were gonna make it so that Tom, are you guys familiar with Sonic X at all, the anime?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh my god, I haven't thought about that in years.
Isn't that the one with the green guy, or that's Sonic Underground?
So, no, well, there is a green guy in Sonic X, but there is a green guy in Sonic Underground as well.
Oh no, so I might have the two confused.
Right. But Sonic X had like Chris. He was like the human character that Sonic met and became his best friend. But they shoehorned Chris into every important decision, because like they retold video game stories like from Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. But then they put Chris into like important story elements instead of like other characters. For example, in Sonic Adventure 2, Amy Rose is the one that reminds Shadow of like Maria and what Maria really wanted, and that's why Shadow decides to, you know, help save the planet. In Sonic X, that's Chris, and I was really worried that that's how the movie was gonna go, where they were gonna shoehorn and make Tom be like the driving force behind everything. They were gonna make Tom be like, Sonic, you have to save them all. And he's like, you're right, I've got to do this kind of thing. But instead, no, Sonic just makes up his own mind. He does whatever he wants. And that's exactly how it should be. Like, there's a part right like towards the end where Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails are like, you know, they're coming together for the first time. And it's just those three. There's no like human interaction there. And I'm like, this is how it should be. It should be like them doing their thing, and then the humans are kind of just there sometimes.
Yeah, they're more supporting characters than really integral parts of the plot.
Like the part at the end when they're all running together and they're like coming up with a plan, that's like peak Sonic right there.
Oh yeah.
That's just that's what I mean. Like the second movie felt like a Sonic movie. It didn't feel like they were trying to prove anything, because they already did all the proving with the first one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that may be why it appeals to what I said. Like, it just appeals to people who were already hooked by the, you know, the first one, and obviously Sonic fans, because you're going to get what you want, kind of in the same way that like the latest Marvel movies, Spider-Man is really for Spider-Man fans.
Oh,
you know, the latest one.
Incredibly so.
And so I think that's like a lot of major movie productions are realizing that with such strong communities and you know, fan bases of things, if you really cater to that audience, you really get rewarded for it. So it's nice that we're heading in that direction, and so I hope that maybe future films like the Mario movie appeal to that too. But before we get into that rabbit hole, Gab, I want to ask you your favorite video game. Why'd you make that face? Is that a weird answer?
Before,
bad answer for this.
Standing up, I just want to ask real quick. Do you guys remember this?
Oh yeah.
Oh, the original
Absolutely.
Sonic design.
Lord,
before
yes.
they changed it.
I wish I didn't.
Yeah.
No, I wish I didn't.
It would have been better. It would have been better if they
it was-
just-
Do you think so?
Yeah. Can you imagine Sonic 2 but Knuckles and Tails look like that too?
No.
Oh my god.
You're telling me that wouldn't have been better?
No, it wouldn't have been.
The thing for me is, why did he have so many teeth? It's like when he smiles, like, and he's,
Why did he have human portions?
Yes!
Like, just like proportions.
Yeah,
It's just as weird.
His proportions were strange.
yeah.
They
That's
tried
just-
to
I don't
make
know.
him too like he's a real guy.
Yeah,
Just a mini man.
Boy, everybody thought it was fake when that movie was
Very,
announced because of that.
Like just very briefly going off of that. You know, do you guys remember in the first movie when there's like a bomb stuck to Sonic's hand and he can't get it off? Do you, that has to be that has to be a remnant from the first design when he didn't have gloves.
Oh yeah.
Because like think about it. He has gloves in his redesign. He would have just taken the gloves off and thrown them away, but no.
Yeah.
He just kind of kept shaking his hand.
That's not how Sonic rolls, Virus. He keeps the gloves at all times.
But even if there's bombs on, I feel like he would have taken the gloves off.
No, it doesn't work that way.
My God, you're right.
That's what I'm saying. It has to be a remnant from when he never had gloves in his design, because the first design didn't have gloves.
I didn't even notice that
Yeah.
his hands are just white fur.
Yeah.
How did they think they could get, I will never understand that. That is a whole separate like of what happened, how did this come to be type of thing. But that's a good point. I wonder if that is why that is, because yeah, he would have taken the glove off, but he never does that in the movie. So I don't know, man. How'd they go from one to the other?
His head looks so big without the big eyes. Like he looks like he's got such a big fucking head.
Yeah, and weirdly in the newer design, his head is bigger.
His head is
He
bigger,
just
but the
has-
eyes take up a lot of the space.
Yeah.
Real quick before we pass it to Gab, I just wanted to bring up real quick. My favorite like line in that movie was when it's Tom looking at like the bachelor party. And like they're throwing drinks on each other and dancing, and they're all naked. And Tom's like, "I want this for Sonic."
Yeah, I want Sonic. to
I
have it.
lost my mind. That was the.
See, I got the sentiment, but the first time I saw it, it was like, what? He's a kid.
Dude, me and my friends lost our minds that we just saw everyone being poured drinks over, no shirts. I want this for Sonic. We were like, oh, this is the funniest line. I'm not sure if they meant this to be a joke, but like this is the
they
funniest
absolutely
line in the
did.
movie.
They tried to mean it as in like, oh, he wants Sonic to
Oh
have
my
like friends and like comrades and stuff. But Sonic's a kid, so it comes across not that way almost.
Yeah.
I did a flip. It was the funniest thing.
It's silly. It's very silly.
So, Gab, what do you think about your favorite video game movie?
Yes, I come from a dark place, the 1990s, and
Canada.
I was raised on so many bad video game movies that there was a point where I just couldn't watch a movie about a video game without telling myself I will leave the room because it's so bad. Because there was the Super Mario one, which of course is like haha funny meme, but I watched the Blood Rain one, I watched the Final Fantasy one, and not Advent Children, the one about the like ghost lizard space thing. It wasn't good, yeah. And as it kept going, I think the one that wasn't so bad was Resident Evil, but they really deviated from the original game, so it was like, it's okay.
The first one was pretty good. The first Resident Evil movie was pretty good. It was just it felt like a video game movie.
Yeah, it did. It was like the start of something better. But I think the one that really brought back like peace of mind with me was Detective Pikachu.
Oh,
yeah,
Detective
I
Pikachu's
knew I was
pretty good.
forgetting one. Oh my
Detective
god,
Pikachu's
yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
I like
just
that one.
having, Pikachu voiced by Ryan Reynolds brought something special to my heart that I didn't know I needed, but I was like, you know what? You go, Pikachu, you go.
I really like the part of that movie where like he's talking to who's the main guy in Detective Pikachu again? The main human guy.
Oh,
His name,
It is Detective Pikachu film. The main guy is called
Pikachu.
who's that?
Tim Goodman. Tim Goodman.
Yes.
I think it's really funny when Detective Pikachu is talking to him, and then you see what he sounds like from someone else's perspective. He's like Ryan Reynolds, this deep voice guy, and then he's like Pika Pika to someone else. I love that shit. It's great.
That was pretty
I wish I had seen that one. I know that's probably the one that I missed out on, because I heard that it was very good.
Yeah, it's
when I
pretty good.
saw it, I was like, oh man, is this like a real thing, like Pikachu with a voice and all that? Like, it can't be like a serious movie. But a lot of people seem to have really liked it, even within the fan base. So if the fan base approves, it's got to be a good one. So I have to add that to my list of movies I need to watch.
Dude, I remember when that movie was, in theaters, they were giving away like exclusive cards, like 1 in 8 of various Pokemon, and I really wanted Jigglypuff, and I got my card pack, and it was Pikachu, and I was like, oh damn. And so my friend needed a card pack still, so I'm like, they didn't get one, so I'm like, wait. So I went there, I'm like, oh, can I get 2 card packs? My friends didn't get any. So, I gave one to her and then one for myself, opened it up. It was Jigglypuff, cheating the system.
Let's go.
Oh my god.
Cheating always reaps good rewards, doesn't it?
Dude, do you guys remember on YouTube, there used to be someone who tried to ambitiously make a real Pokemon fake movie. Do you remember that? Oh, it must have been from like
fake movie.
7-8 years ago. Yeah, someone like those people they use 3D CGI kind of stuff to like make Pokemon look real on YouTube. Someone tried to make like a whole narrative with it. I forget how long it ran or how much it even was. Maybe it was just fake trailers, and I'm just adding in details, like fake trailers for a Pokemon movie that was all edgy and grimmer, and Misty was all grown up and stuff like that. And seeing that was like crazy, and then seeing like Pokemon but for real, and also like a real movie, like Mr. Mime is gross and Jigglypuff is there, and I'm like, yo, it was just so cool. It was just so cool.
Weird in that movie because it begs the question of whether he's wearing clothes or if it's all flesh. Because like you always feel like Mr. Mime is wearing clothes, right?
Yeah.
But then
no,
you look at him in.
So,
Huh?
I don't know anymore.
Then you look at him in Detective Pikachu, and it looks like it's flesh. Like it looks like it's just part of his body. It's just weird. It's strange to me. Like the one I love Detective Pikachu. It's a great movie. Some of the designs almost don't translate very well to live action though. Have you seen Gengar? Have you seen? Did you see Gengar?
I think we brought it up in another episode. It's actually in Editor's Resource, if I'm not mistaken.
Like, look at him.
It's terrifying.
Why are his teeth that big?
I think that's a perfect translation. I'm gonna be on the other side. I'm gonna be devil's advocate. I think that's a perfect translation. He's meant to be a terrifying ghoul, and I think he is a perfectly terrifying ghoul.
I think you're deranged, is what I'm gonna say.
I think that's a perfect translation.
No, I don't think it is. Just because it's the teeth. I don't think the teeth work in live action. It just looks so weird.
Anything that has human teeth that isn't human is disturbing.
Jigglypuff is a great translation.
Yeah.
But Gengar is not a great translation.
I'm really
you imagine
starting...
one with braces? Sorry.
Oh, no, it's fine. I'm really starting that the problem is really teeth, because, the first Sonic had teeth, that's a problem. Gengar has teeth, that's a problem. We just gotta have, toothless monsters.
This
that's what's gonna happen.
motherfucker, Daniel Filbert, really says that this is the perfect live-action translation of Gengar.
Yes. I'll die on that hill.
Yes, you.
I'll die on the hill. I'll die standing on my goddamn feet.
Oh yeah, look how terrifying this guy with like huge teeth right here looks.
Perfect.
I love it because I actually do think it embodies Gengar of like it's terrifying but goofy at the same time.
Also join him on this. So you're both so fucking wrong.
I don't know. I haven't even seen the movie, but the more you post of it, I'm like, that guy's fucking weird. But like, he's supposed to be. Jigglypuff is freaking me out. I don't like the way
he's not supposed to be that weird. He's supposed to like look at him in like non-live action. Goofy. He's just like the shadow of Clefairy or whatever it is.
Is that what he's supposed to be?
Yeah, it's cool. It's the same exact. Yeah.
Oh, I see it now. Yeah, see yeah, there's clearly something. Somebody misdrew something or came across. I don't know what they were doing here, but it's just it's hilarious.
This is the guy she told you not to worry about.
Versus you.
Versus you. Yeah.
It's a perfect translation.
It's not. It's not perfect because he just looks goofy. Gengar's supposed to be scary.
Gengar's goofy.
Gengar is not goofy. Gengar's supposed to be scary.
Dude, don't you remember in the where was it? Sabrina's gym when he was just trolling? They're a bunch of trolls.
True. Yeah, but at least he looks like a prankster and not like a fucking dweeb.
He looks like someone that dweeby.
Bullied hardcore in high school.
Potentially, yeah. It's just the teeth are just too big in the front. I don't know. It's freaky. I love it though, and it really goes to serve like video game movies are kind of doing that thing where book movies like had to avoid being too accurate to the actual book itself because there had to be some type of difference there so that people would want to see the movie as opposed to the.
It was more to be grounded in reality because the people were too movie makers were too scared to be comic accurate if you're talking about comic book movies because it's too bizarre. It was too bizarre and out there and not like. It felt like you couldn't suspend your belief enough to enjoy it. That's why a load of like the earlier superhero movies were grounded in reality. They were kind of grittier. Like all the costumes were either adapted to be more realistic, or they were like, because you got like no super colorful costumes back in the day. It was all really dark, muted colors to kind of suit reality, I guess. That was like the start of superhero movies, and then Marvel became what Marvel is, and now they don't care. They can just do whatever they want.
Yeah. But with book movies, I'm talking about more like the Maze Runner, the Hunger Games. I mean, even like stuff like that. Because there's no. I'm glad you brought up comic book movies because unlike comic book movies, there is no visual direct translation because it's always the character is imagined, so you have a lot more to work with on who you cast and what you make it look like. But they'll often do things that are just like plot points that are completely different from the book, or they'll make designs of like the Maze Runner. The maze will be completely designed a different way than the book describes. And I think it's interesting that video game movies, even like Sonic or everything, are completely avoiding direct plots from games. They're completely going into, okay, the Sonic movie is not going to be a 3D animated and live action version of Sonic DX. It's not going to be the original Sonic. It's going to be its own plot.
Not true. The second one very heavily drew from Sonic 2, like the video game.
Did it actually?
Yeah, like it had the death. Like it did tell it kind of its own story. There was like it took inspiration from like 2 different stories and mashed it together, but Sonic 2 was like the main inspiration, like Sonic, like Tails coming and being like, I'm a big fan, Sonic, whoa, and the big Death Egg Robo thing at the end, that's the final boss of Sonic 2, and the Chaos Emeralds and stuff. And what they're setting up for the next movie is especially probably going to be like a direct video game adaptation, if that makes sense. Yeah.
So I guess that is true. A lot of my thought about that is that I don't know what my thought about that is. I just think it's an interesting point, I guess, that some at least the first movie, and I guess like even the Mario movie was completely not even close to original Mario. I guess it was, but it just visually was so different.
Yeah.
Like, I remember Mario and Luigi entering like a dance club at one point. I'm like, I don't really remember that from the games. So it's interesting that like it takes inspiration from it, but it has those like, okay, how do we put these characters in a
real
classic
setting.
film scenario where they can interact and do their own thing. That being said, the upcoming Super Mario movie, I think, is going to be a really big turn on its head, because I don't think it's going to be live action.
No, it's all animated.
And unlike all of the other video game movies we've had lately that are directly based off of one franchise, I think they've all been live action.
Yep, they have.
So I'm curious how this like major movie title is going to serve as a completely 3D animated film. Like, if they're not going to make it in the real world, are we going to get an entirely, you know, not grounded in reality, completely unrealistic scenario where it's just we're in the Mushroom Kingdom, or maybe Mario and Luigi, like maybe they pull a new Donk City type of situation where they're like in a realistic city, but then they go into the Mushroom Kingdom. I don't know. There's so many possibilities, I guess, you can do with animation.
Do you know who it's animated by? Like the company?
Yes,
it's animated by Illumination, the people that made
baby.
like the people that made Minions and Despicable Me. They're gonna turn Goombas into the next fucking Minions. You're gonna get sent memes from your parents and your grandparents saying like Happy Friday, and it's got like a happy Goomba like next to it or something.
God please, that would be so funny.
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
It's gonna happen whether you want it or not. The Goombas are gonna be the next Minions because of that.
That's a future that I'm willing. I, for one, embrace our new Goomba overlords. Before we get into Mario movie, though, because again, I do really want to talk about that. The only other one, video game movie, I guess, that comes to mind to me is Ready Player One, which I think actually was like one of the first of the recent decade, one of the first like major video game movies, because it wasn't about a one specific franchise or one specific game. It was just an ode to gamers, I guess, in a way, as a whole, which weirdly became VR Chat. That movie reminds me a lot of VR Chat. It's kind of like what it is, but it incorporated characters from so many recognizable franchises that like it became one big video game movie that kind of like opened the floodgates to like, okay, if we can make this movie and have all these characters, then there is a market for video game movies. I only saw that movie recently, and I absolutely loved it. And I'm curious if you guys saw it or had any thoughts on it.
I have not seen it. I just know about it.
Oh, dude, so worth a watch. Totally.
Go ahead, vote.
No, I was just gonna say I believe I've seen it. Go ahead, Gab.
Okay, I have actually seen it back in theater, and I remember liking it very much when I first saw it, and then I watched it again, and then I was like, oh, that movie is okay at best, you know, and a lot of the stuff just felt like, oh, you like video games? Here is Master Chief! Oh, it's good Chief! And I'm like, yeah, okay, it's alright.
Do you know another game, another movie that kind of isn't a video game movie, but it leans into it a little, and it has like video game characters in it? Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah.
Wreck-It Ralph is like the characters are original to Disney, but there are real video game characters like dispersed amongst them. Like Sonic is in Wreck-It Ralph and he's voiced.
Yeah,
There's
Zangief.
Cuba, there's Zangief, yeah, there's Bowser.
Yeah.
There's a couple of guys just kind of banging around in amongst the original characters that Disney made, but it feels organic. Like the characters in Wreck-It Ralph feel like they could be video game characters. Like Ralph, for example. I mean, I feel like he's clearly based off of Donkey Kong, but it works. You know, he's just a really angry guy with really big fists. And there's like. I personally really fucking love Wreck-It Ralph. Wreck-It Ralph is like such a incredible animated movie.
It was great.
And that has like you know, a couple video game references here and there. There's also Pixels. Do you guys remember Pixels?
I remember. That's what I thought you were talking
With,
about. That's the one that we missed.
With Adam Sandler.
Yeah. Pac-Man and Donkey Kong.
Boy.
Yeah.
The fucking... Have you guys seen it? It's such a fucking bad movie, but the part where the creator of Pac-Man is talking to his kid, he's like, my child, my son, and then Pac-Man just fucking eats him.
That was the best part. I think that's hilarious.
That's the only part I can remember of what I know of Pixels. The rest of the movie is a fever dream of terrible. But yeah, there's also like a couple live action movies that we didn't so much touch on that we could briefly talk about, if anyone's even seen them. The Tomb Raider movies. Did anyone see those? Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
I feel like they were okay.
Yeah, you could feel that it was
very campy.
It was a movie, you know. It was a movie.
It had that like 90s, early 2000 camp to it, where it was very kind of cheesy and corny. Go on, Jay.
Before we move on to other ones, I do want to just get my thoughts in on the ones that we mentioned already.
Oh, go for it.
One, I might need to rewatch Ready Player One if it is in the way that you're saying, Gab, of like it feels like it's pushing characters. I just remember going through it the first time being like, oh, this is a joy. That's pretty cool. But I don't know, that one might also need to get a rewatch.
That thing, you know, don't spoil it. You know, if you had a good memory, don't watch it again. It's just
fair. Good point. Good point. Maybe I'll leave it like it was. Two, I think Wreck-It Ralph actually is a really good example of what a 3D video game movie is capable of, which makes me very optimistic for the Mario movie, because if we are completely entranced in a 3D unrealistic world, we can accept the fact that we are like a Disney and animated film. We can accept the fact that we're in a fantasy film, and that opens up a lot more room for animated, whereas Sonic did face the challenge of we have to make it plausibly realistic and plausibly a video game fantasy movie at the same time, so that you can imagine the human character interacting with the video game character like you did when you were a kid.
Right.
If the Mario movie is 100% animated, similarly to Wreck-It Ralph, it doesn't have any rules it has to follow. It can just be completely, you know, its own fantasy world, which I hadn't considered. So I'm glad that we brought that up, because I think that makes me feel optimistic that they'll pull it off pretty well.
Do you guys remember? Sorry, were you finish your point there?
Oh, and that Pixels. I actually really enjoyed Pixels, I guess just because it had the charm of like, oh, it's aliens having the 3D things coming down, and it's like their response, and they're trying to destroy the world. I love the gimmick of it, and the idea of that being what happened. Like, I thought it was, I don't know, I thought it was really cool. But I do agree, the cast and the characters or whatever, it was a little bit of a silly movie.
It was the thing is, right, it was based off of a short film which had so much charm. It was like a short that was on YouTube of like,
was it really?
Yeah, it was a short from YouTube of aliens attacking, and they were like all pixelated, and it was like Space Invaders and Pac-Man and stuff. There was no like human characters. It was just that premise. And then they took that and they kind of just fucking shoved Adam Sandler in there, and I was like, oh yeah, why would you do this? Did you guys know that there was did you guys know there was an Assassin's Creed movie?
Oh, there was. I remember no one talked about it.
I never watched it. I'm looking at a list of video game movies right now. There was there was a Assassin's Creed movie in 2016. I don't remember
about it.
Yeah,
seeing advertisements for it, but I don't remember anyone talking about it, because I heard it was like, I remember seeing a trailer for it, I think, seeing posts about it, but then no one talking about it like after that.
Yeah, that's a shame, because I feel like there is a lot of potential there, because Assassin's Creed like, has a really interesting like story to tell. I feel like that could easily translate to live action. There was also Prince of Persia in 2010 with Jake Gyllenhaal, which was also very mid. What else even is there?
Can we count the Castlevania Netflix series? No, that's a TV series.
That's a TV series. Yeah.
Adaptation.
Nothing but love from that series.
Is that live action though?
No, it is not. No. I'm just gonna insert my little honorable mention to video game adaptations into media. I like that one.
Yeah,
that's fair.
I feel like TV shows are different though. Like there are a bunch of like decent video game TV shows. Like Sonic Boom. The games were terrible, but the TV show was pretty good.
Yeah, Sonic X was excellent. Excellent.
Sonic X was alright until it wasn't. It became bad in the later half. Yeah, it became really bad. There was a Street Fighter movie. Do you guys remember
Street Fighter TV show?
The 90s Street Fighter movie.
The movie's bad, but the guy who plays Bison is just a delight to watch for the entire movie.
Absolutely. For sure, dude. Oh, there's so many fucking video game movies that I didn't know existed.
Yeah. Did you guys see the Mortal Kombat? Was that a movie?
Heard
Mortal Kombat?
Yes.
Yeah,
Did you guys see it? I didn't. I only saw the intro scene, and I was like, okay, it's kind of cool.
Well, I haven't seen the new one. I've seen the 2 older ones, and it's so bad. It's good. It's like
really.
The acting
I only heard about the recent one.
Is abysmal. I think the one that's mostly meme about is in the second one where Kitana meets her mother Sindel, who's now possessed and evil, and she's like, "Mother," and Sindel goes, "Too bad you would die." You're like, who talks like that?
I have to see this movie now. It's official.
And then there was the Uncharted movie recently, which was horribly miscast. With Tom Holland. Yeah, like, dude, I love Tom Holland. I love him as Peter Parker. I love him. Like, he's done other roles that are pretty good. He's not Nathan Drake. Tom Holland is just not Nathan Drake. I feel like that was like a terrible miscasting. I feel like Sony was.
Is it out yet?
No, it is out. Yeah, it is out. Apparently, it's very like okay. It's like just an action movie. It doesn't really feel like an Uncharted movie, but like I don't know, dude. I feel like Sony were just like, yo, this Tom Holland kid, he's doing pretty good as Spider-Man. People like this guy. Let's shove him into a video game role. Like, you've seen what Nathan Drake looks like, right? Like,
very dirty, rugged, grown.
like he's like a rugged guy with like a chiseled jawline. He's muscular and stuff. And then they put in fucking like this like e-boy looking guy.
Yeah.
Like, look at him. Like I love Tom. Don't get me wrong. I love Tom, but it just doesn't work for me.
Yeah. It's that Hollywood flavor of the month, you know, like, oh, this actor is loved right now. Let's put him in everything, even if it doesn't fit. And you're like, yeah, it's
like he's supposed to be like a young Nathan Drake, but fucking like, dude, come on.
I don't know. He kind of.
You're not going to convince me. I don't think it works. I think it's the worst casting.
I'm just stating, like, I think he kind of has the younger look, if that's what they're going for. Definitely, he doesn't fit the
I just don't think
one.
that could grow into the one on the right. I don't think that's. I don't think that's how jawlines work.
Yeah, maybe he hit the gym after that. Yeah,
like this guy. This guy there's a YouTube short film. His name's Nathan Fillion. This guy's Nathan Drake.
Oh yeah,
this guy's Nathan Drake.
He definitely would be. Yeah,
like the YouTube short of Uncharted with Nathan Fillion is so fucking good. It's like
I could even argue that Jeremy Renner maybe could play because he kind of looks like this guy a little bit.
Is that Hawkeye?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I can see it. I can see Jeremy Renner.
A little bit. I don't know. Yeah, I guess I'd have to see the movie. I can see
Jeremy Renner do it. He's got like the face for it. Yeah.
I'd have to see. I guess I'd have to see the Uncharted. I don't know. He kind of looks like a little bit. I guess because it's a movie, the lighting is nice and the costume is a little more like accurate to what it would look like in the game. So they did the makeup to look really good. I don't know. I think it's cool, but again, I'd have to. That's one movie that I've like wanted to see but haven't seen.
I've heard it's very just like. It's very just action movie.
I haven't heard anyone talk about it, so I'm sure it's not really as like, oh, this is a godsend movie everybody needs to see. But I'm curious to see what it is. So now obviously, Hayden, as you're saying, there's a lot of video game movies on that list that you're looking at. I want to speculate while we approach the waning phase of this episode. I want to talk about movies that don't exist yet. Video game movies that haven't been. Hold your horses, Phil, but hold your Kirby's, because I want to talk about video game movies that we want to see exist, and if you guys have a plot in mind or a thought of it or a trailer in your head, I'm curious where your imagination would go with that. Before we get to that, one that I'm thinking of, I'm gonna put a pin in it right now. Legend of Zelda absolutely could be a live action film.
Do you know?
Absolutely could be a fantastic.
Did you know that
movie.
that was gonna be a thing and then they canceled it because it got leaked?
What?
You
Really?
know, the Legend of Zelda, it was either a film or a series, like a Netflix thing. It was gonna be a thing, and it got leaked, and Nintendo canceled it.
Wasn't it
What?
April Fools though? I
No,
thought it was.
no, absolutely. What? Like this was a real thing.
Huh. 'Cause I remember the trailer and I was like, "This is gonna be sweet." And then,
no, there wasn't a trailer for it. It wasn't like officially announced. That's the thing.
oh,
Yeah,
It was like the
Nin-
script was leaked or
yeah, it says
something.
Nintendo reportedly canceled a Zelda Netflix series after it leaked. The article's here.
That sucks.
Man.
This is the article. It wasn't. I know what you're thinking about with the April Fool's joke. There was no trailer or anything for this.
okay.
Ah,
Yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't a
Zelda
movie,
series.
but it was. It was going to be a Netflix series. See the things that I would think of as a video game movie are already kind of being made. They're making the Sonic movie, they're making the Mario movie, they're making a Five Nights at Freddy's movie, they're making an It Takes Two movie.
Are they really?
Yeah, they are. They're making
What?
a Portal movie.
What?
They're
Portal
making a
movie's gonna be so-
Minecraft movie. These are all things that have been announced, and they have like studios attached to them.
Really?
Yeah.
It Takes Two?
It Takes Two. Yeah.
Oh my god,
That's
dude,
being made
I'm
by
gonna cry.
Amazon Studios.
Oh, it's gonna suck.
I don't think it'll suck. I think it'll
I'm
be
kidding. I'm kidding. I know. I'm very excited for that.
I think it could be okay if they do it well, because there's like a story there that can be told.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be excellent.
The Minecraft movie.
I don't know about that one.
I think
it'd
the
be live
Minecraft
action.
movie would be awesome. Yeah, Steve gets isekai'd into the real world.
Please. Please.
Has to get the 7 Ender Eyes with the help from his friend John.
I'll watch it 7 times.
Yeah.
Back
That would
to
be
back.
Dan's Sonic movie. Like the equivalent of the Sonic movie for me
Okay.
would be the Minecraft movie for Dan.
Absolutely, I would lose my mind, and you know there's going to be a YouTube cameo section. I better see exploding TNT in the background.
Oh,
but,
for
right.
sure. There was real quick. They're also making a Borderlands movie apparently,
Oh.
which is interesting.
Yeah, with Kevin Hart as Roland, right?
I think so. Yeah, it's been a long time in the making. I think. I know it's being
There's
made
a
by
lot more lined up
Lionsgate.
than I thought there
Oh.
was.
Yeah.
Holy hell.
Yeah. It's like Kate Blanchett as Lilith, Kevin Hart as Roland, Jack Black as Claptrap.
That's quite a sentence.
Jamie Lee Curtis as Patricia Tannis. Yeah, there's a bunch of people like lined up for this.
Oh.
Yeah. Go on, Dan. I know you're waiting to rip something
am.
right now.
all right, Kirby movie adaptation of Revenge of Meta Knight from Superstar.
But Kirby's isekai'd into the real world, and he has a friend Steven, and he's gonna help him beat
He has to get all the
Meta Knight.
Ender Eyes.
He has a friend, Steve. It's Minecraft Steve, also in the real world.
Smash Bros. Cinematic Universe.
Wasn't sure which one they wanted to make into a movie, so Minecraft and Kirby movie are unified. No,
And it's and it's a buddy cop movie. You know?
yeah, please. Revenge of Meta Knight, I think, would make for such a good translation if it was like fully animated, or fully like animated, like Illumination style, because it has some dialogue in it. It has a little bit of narrative to it. It has a few good arcs to the movie. Kirby making the comeback on Dynablade and getting shot down and having to venture out in the wilderness for a little bit. It has the cinematic ending with a nice big explosion of the Meta Knight ship of the halberd going down. Oh, I think it would make for such a good translation. And it's of a classic Kirby game, so it's like, you know, one of the best sellers. I don't know. I think it's perfect formula.
You know what would be amazing? Because in Revenge of Meta Knight, there's a countdown to when, like, you know, the Albert will make a pop star explode. So if in the movie they keep that timer and the exact movie is the exact amount of the timer for the attack, now that will be something.
Oh, it'll be so good.
I think my baby approves, so you know I got extra point.
That's mine. That's mine.
Yeah, oh, that'd be excellent. I want to kind of alter my answer from my Legend of Zelda one. I don't really know if I want live action, but in the same vein as like, I haven't seen it, but like Arcane, where it's an animated but like a semi-realistic kind of heavily or stylistic type of animation for a series. If they made a movie that was very similar to the Breath of the Wild style, and it was based off of that story or something similar, yeah, like an animated stylized series, or even like that as a movie, as a whole plot of Zelda, and they're talking about the lore and they're freeing the divine beast. Like the game itself feels like a film.
I feel like there is
so easily translated into
story to be told in Breath of the Wild, because Breath of the Wild feels like it has the most narrative, if that makes sense. Like there's Breath of the Wild. I haven't like beat the game or anything, but from what I've played, it definitely feels like it's the Zelda game with the most lore presented directly to you, if that makes sense. Like they Breath of the Wild does a good job at world building, whereas all the other Zelda games don't really do that. They kind of just hint at it in the background with, like, you know, NPCs and stuff. Whereas this game's like, you died 100 years ago. Now you're back, and there's all these guys that also died, but they have big beast thing, mechanical. You know what I'm trying to say. They actually tell you a story, as opposed to saying, go get fucking 3 gems from a dungeon, get a sword, beat evil man, game over.
Right, everything has a reason, and everything like that is like, go get a gem, whatever, it has hidden lore behind it. Like if you accidentally encounter something, it's like, oh, this is the broken down temple of time, this is a broken down temple from another game, it's not part of the story, but like you happen to find it, and it's like all deserted from before. Like the I don't know if it's Lon Lon Ranch, but like the horse track you race around in Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask, or one of them.
It's Ocarina.
Is in Breath of the Wild as like a broken down place. It has no plot. It has no main element. It's just there. But you, like, if you know what it is, you know that it's there.
It's a Temple of Time. Like the Temple of Time is just at the start, right?
Yeah,
it's just but it's all that's from Ocarina.
Yeah. So I think. Sorry. I was just gonna say that it has the. I think
he's got some great points
today. It's really,
honestly, go off. I love hearing your thoughts on the Mario movie from 1993, Andre.
I spared him the challenge. You know, he will not watch this movie.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild just it's completely set up, I think, to have that type of film story, and I think it'd be an excellent movie, and I'd buy every movie ticket every day that it aired in the theaters up until it was on DVD, and I'd buy all the DVDs and watch it every day. I mean, man, the potential that has, but that's just a fantasy, of course. We hope that one day that becomes a thing.
I want Five Nights at Freddy's movie.
Is that like really? That's like really going on, because I remember it being teased like half a decade ago.
It's really going on. You say half a decade ago? That was like when the first game came out. That came out like half a decade ago.
Yeah, so it's like around that. I guess that was the time that I heard about it.
I can't remember when it was announced. It was in development hell for a while, but then it got picked up by Blumhouse, which is like a production company. So I'm not sure, but I know that it's definitely gonna happen at some point. And I'm intrigued to see how they adapt that to live action.
Yeah.
Because, dude, there's a lot of story in Five Nights at Freddy's, and I'm curious as to how they're going to tell it. Because it could be really bad and campy.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. But it actually was announced more than half a decade ago. It was announced in 2015.
That's when this movie has been brewing. What the fuck?
Yeah, it says here, Five Nights at Freddy's movie. Scott Cawthon officially announced that a Five Nights at Freddy's movie is happening on April 7th, 2015. Fans would be disappointed to discover that the movie would take years to even begin production.
Oh, was that 2015 you said it was announced?
April 7th, 2015, this thing says it was announced.
Wow.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why it escaped my mind. It's like, oh, it's not happening. Because that is such a long time between it's happening and trailer and then release of the
movie for his indie game a year after the first one came out.
That guy's because crazy. Of the success.
I mean, yeah, to be fair, like, it's just crazy that it's an indie game. He was like, oh, by the way, there's a live action movie coming out from the game I released a year ago.
Yeah,
That's like crazy.
Yeah.
That's like a crazy like jump if you think about it.
Yeah, it says here that the guy who made Monster House, which is one of my favorite movies, in July 2015 made a deal with Warner Bros. To make a Five Nights at Freddy's movie. That's crazy. But then it was canceled in 2017, and then 2018. You're right, Blumhouse picked it up.
Blumhouse, yeah.
That's nuts, man. Nobody wants to make it. I can't believe that. That's going to be the most interesting one if it's real.
Dude, that's gonna be the first movie to sell 1 trillion tickets. I'm fucking
It's
telling you.
gotta be.
please.
It's even going to top
Yeah,
Morbius.
1 trillion, and it's from Virus alone right there.
Yeah, Five Nights at Freddy's sweep, baby. I will be the one responsible for the sweep.
Yeah, exactly. Single-handedly will sweep the entire movie to the top of the charts.
Exactly, dude.
Oh, that's so funny. Before we wrap up, Gab, I think you were the only one.
Oh.
I'm curious what your movie would be as a video game movie.
What I'd actually really want to see is actually an Overwatch movie that starts at the Omnic Crisis, you know, the creation of Overwatch and how the first team actually fought the robots.
Oh,
I
sure.
would really love
Yeah.
to see that. I think it'd make a great action movie.
Yeah, there's a lot of like untold lore about that because when you're playing through the game, it's constantly hinting at, oh, the Omnics had this civil war and this kind of, you know, not a civil war, I guess the concept of the world introducing androids and Omnics or whatever else, and
What
then
game is this,
having
sorry?
people adapt to it. Overwatch.
Oh, Overwatch. Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of riddled with this lore about like humans hating Omnics and Omnics trying to have peace and all this other stuff. It's a lot like Detroit Become Human, which is one of my favorite games that I've never played. But that alone could be a movie.
You
Yeah.
sound like a Persona fan.
I know, right? But yeah, I don't know. I think it is in that same vein of like the story of like it's something that's relatable and can be grounded in reality of like humans having to deal with the uprising of I almost said animatronics. I'm still thinking about the FNAF movie.
See, you said Omnics, and I didn't hear what the game you were talking about was. I thought I heard. You said Omnics, my brain thought Omnitrix, and I was like, is he talking about Ben 10?
Oh yeah, no.
I was like, what
Yeah,
the
right.
Bring it back.
Everyone's favorite video game,
Yeah.
Ben 10 for GameCube.
Ben 10 for GameCube.
But yeah, that's a good pick, Gab. I would definitely love to see that too as a fellow Overwatch fan. I would also like to see that as a movie.
And you know,
Would
with
it be-
Overwatch 2 being disappointing, the movie could pick it up, you know?
Yeah, maybe. I have to ask, Gab, is it live action? Is it semi-live action, or is it like fully
I'd go
3D animated movie?
Fully animated, you know, because I really like the first Overwatch trailers with Tracer and
Yeah.
Winston and all that. I
Yeah.
think just fully animated would be fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, the style of Overwatch's animated characters that it has is really unique. Grounded in like semi-realistic but also animated at the same time, so it just feels really good. I forgot about like the cinematic trailers and stuff that they had for the movie too, or for the game too. It just needs to be expanded on, that's all. Same thing with Breath of the Wild. It's like you have these cinematic beautiful cutscenes, just stretch them out to the 2-hour mark and then I'm in the seat every time.
I would also settle for a Into the Spider-Verse art style. You know, I'm not picky,
Yes.
so if they want to do
Oh
that.
yeah, that'd be excellent too. 100%. Anything will look excellent into the Spider-Verse style.
Very good point.
Really.
So true.
Oh man.
That's
Well,
deep.
on that note, I suppose we should ask the comment section, what movie do you want to see? Not one that already exists. I know we're all going to see the Mario movie, and Lord help us, I hope that movie's great. Let us know in the comments what type of movie you would make if you could make a video game movie, and make it good. All mid to low suggestions will be deleted from the comment section.
Yeah,
make sure-
and you will be banned from further commenting on the channel.
Yeah. You won't even know because you just won't see the channel because
Exactly.
you'll be banned from it. Can't even watch our
So if you
videos.
can't see the channel and you can't see the video, then that's why. Also, how are you watching? Because you shouldn't be able to see this
Shouldn't be able to see it.
and be able to see it.
Think thoroughly about what you typed down there, and we'd love to see what's going on. On that note, I suppose it's time for us to run the credits of this episode of Mouthfuls. Thank you all for watching this episode. These have been my incredible co-hosts, Virus, GG Gabriel Gaming, and Failboat. And of course, I've been J-Emoji. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss another Mouthfuls episode because there's more coming. Thank you, Gab, for the striking visual.
I just hope I'm at the right place, you know? I'm just like mashing in the emptiness of space.
Yeah. Just put it down. They'll know what to do. Oh, boy. And on that note, we'll see you guys next time. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I think Capcom does a great job when they're adding like collaboration characters.
I've never been able to extend this way.
Oh god, I gotta get the helmet on. Oh god, oh god.
Wait a minute, our guy's a bad guy the whole time.
I just think it's crazy that I'm better at video games now than when I was like 16.
That is how you fix all the problems with all these games.
I feel like toy distribution is so different than it used to be.
They resculpted over the chest. They gave him a flak jacket over it.
I laugh when I see Among Us, but I'm not having fun inside. It's a reflex.
No, you took my joke!